All right, man. Any fitness today?
Not today, at least not yet. I had a busy morning. Today is the open registration live date, so it's been a busy morning. But I do
Been
have,
chill, huh?
yeah, I have some plans this afternoon to do the CrossFit.com main site. I've been doing that train recently. I did one the other day. You'll like this one, Pat. It was real simple. It was just 400-meter runs and then 50 push-ups, and then basically variations of them. So 400-meter runs, and every time you came back, you did basically like a different variation of a push-up for 50 reps. It was good.
Sets of 50 on the push-ups.
Boy,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. I mean, not that, I guess there's not honest push-ups, but we'll say honest push-ups, they're so challenging.
Yep.
I just recently, you know, maxed out my bench for a long time in a bit, and I'm always like hovering with my bench between like 245 and 255 with maybe benching twice a year, which I think
Yep.
is like pretty good. And even that translates to the toughest part of Cindy's the push-ups, 10 push-ups, just doing
Oh,
10 push-ups over and
100%.
over again. It's so difficult.
Hey, I will tell you, man, I did that one Monday evening in the garage by myself. And even under those conditions where I had no pressure, it was one of those like, I just got to get something in. I have no time constraints or time goals for this particular workout. Even under those conditions, I still felt myself slipping into these like really crappy push-ups. And I was like, come on, dude, have some integrity. What are you doing? Nobody's even here to, you know what I mean? To try to beat. This is insane. So
They're
it's a
so
very
humbling.
seductive movement to start just slipping down the, well, what if I just get a little snake action in there? What if I just
Mhm.
short the range of motion just a little bit? Yeah. Yep. Peter's
I got
favorite
a
exercise, man.
I I got a classic in store today. I gotta do Nasty Girls.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
This
I
is
love that workout. That's a good
I
one.
do too.
Yeah,
I
it's
do
fun.
too. I'll have to do low ring muscle ups in my garage. I can't do muscle ups in there,
Oh,
but
that's the way it was originally done. I mean, go watch
I
the
won't be
original.
shortchanged. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I won't be shortchanged with that. And man, that was I think, I think we told this before. That was one of the first workouts that I did like way back in the day working for HQ, where like I had to go against somebody, thought I'd beat them, and I got smoked. It was it was a good day. But
Who'd you get smoked by? Who was it?
have I not told you the
We
story?
have, but I can't remember it. It's you
Jeff
know.
T.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, that's yeah.
Right.
It was
Okay.
like
But
I myself.
I didn't know him at the time. And
Oh, dude.
so I don't know, I just thought I was gonna take this guy. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a bad workout for me. I was like, okay, like
Yeah.
if
Who's this
things line
chump?
up, this is gonna be good. And man, he just mopped the floor with me. Like I had enough time left by the time he finished to like really contemplate how far behind I was.
Yeah.
It's
I
like one of
myself
those deals.
have also had Jeff T mop the floor with me on multiple occasions. So I'm with you, dude. That's
And he's just humble the whole time doing it, just a nice guy. You're like, ah,
total savage.
this is the worst. And he was like 10 years older than me at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That guy's work ethic was just, I mean,
He was a
amazing.
savage. He
Yep.
was an absolute savage.
I'm sure he still is. I there's no
I'm
doubt in my mind that
sure.
he is still an absolute beast.
Firefighter. That's the guy you want
Hmm.
coming in to rescue you.
Yep, for sure.
He's going to get you out.
I would think so. Yeah.
I would think so as well. Well, we got a good show for you today, everybody. Before we do that, of course, check out the Very Not Random Cycles. Help yourself with body weight, barbell, engine development, a whole bunch of get your first, whether it's strict pull up, push up, all that kind of good stuff. So go to verynotRandom.com, check those out. And then on the other side of the house, if you own a gym, good news for gym owners. btwb has an all-in-one, so you can do workout tracking, gym management, and billing, all in the same software that works seamlessly together. So if you are a gym owner interested in that, go to btwb.com, check out the all-in-one. So today will be kind of a loose show, but I just figured we ought to chat about it because I just recently did a 72-hour fast for reasons that I don't know if they're intelligent or stupid. And we just figured I'd just share why I did it with folks and my experience. And under, of course, the ever present umbrella of this is not medical advice. I'm not telling you to not eat food and then, pass out in your living room for 2 days. Like just, check with your medical professional. We're just going to talk about what I did and that's that. So have you ever dabbled with this at all?
Not a 72-hour hard fast like that. I think the longest I've done is like 36, maybe 48 hours. But I've never
Mm.
done a 72-hour fast. My wife has dabbled with this sort of thing in the past, but my direct experience is pretty limited.
I'm going to have some other interesting side stories to share
Yeah.
because again, I just did this recently. I finished up like last week, and so I told my community, I told Lynchpin about it just to share about it, and then a whole bunch of people are like, yeah, I'm going to give it a try next week. I'm like, no, 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 that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm just saying. And so there's somebody just finished this morning, as a matter of fact. She made it. Somebody else is starting today. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear the somebody somebody else started, and 43 hours later, like threw in the towels, like I'm
Oh,
done,
wow.
can't do it. And so yeah. I'll say I did this. Here's why I did it, and
Yeah.
and I throw myself at the mercy of the internet just to sanity check me as to whether what the interwebs told me does the general population think is true or overstated and doesn't really give the benefits that supposedly it does. So I did basically I think it's called like a water only fast. And not that there's rules, but to do the best that I could see, I also, black coffee seems to be okay. So I did 2 cups of black coffee in the morning. And then the only thing I did other than that is it was recommended that over the course of each day to consume like 1 teaspoon of sea salt so that your electrolytes don't get low or whatnot. And so sprinkled it in over some water. That was it. That's what I did right there. And when I was I've known about fasting for a bit. And when I did the research, here's what your friend and mine, AI, said. And if this is generally true, there's just some reasons why. So, water only fast um, triggers significant metabolic shifts as the body depletes glycogen stores, which usually happens in the 12 to 24-hour mark. Entering ketosis from the 24 to 48-hour mark ramps up deeper adaptive processes by day 3. And this was at least nice. They said, while anecdotal reports and some animal and preliminary human studies highlight potential upsides, evidence from controlled trials remains limited and mixed. But here are the potential key benefits. There is 6 of them. Number 1, weight loss. Expect 4 to 8 pounds, aka 2 to 4 kilos dropped, mostly water and glycogen initially, then fat.
I did
That
notice
I
that
didn't
you are looking shredded, Pat. That was going to be my
beach
first comment.
beach ready.
Yeah.
That
Ripped.
didn't interest me at all. Like I could have cared less about that, quite frankly. Then the next one is improved insulin sensitivity and metabolic health. Insulin drops roughly 30%, enhancing sensitivity and blood sugar control, potentially helpful for prediabetes, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, that I'm like, okay, cool. Like improved insulin sensitivity. If that's true, I'll take it. So that I
Sure.
put in the good category. Couldn't care less about the weight loss, but I thought that was nice. Here's the one. I already forgot how we pronounce the word. Autophagy.
Autophagy.
Autophagy. Thank you.
I would have said
Thank you.
autophagy, like a
Autophagy. Autophagy.
like a
This was the
Philistine.
one
What's that?
this is the one that I can't pronounce, but this is the one that I hope is true. And honestly, I'll say this is probably what intrigued me the most. So that's what I'm curious to hear what the old interwebs have to say.
Yeah.
AKA cellular cleanup. And this peaks around hours 48 through 72. So this is kind of like supposedly what happens on day 3, and it doesn't happen on day 1 or day 2. Day 1 and day 2 get you to this stage, if you will. Peaks around the 48 to 72-hour mark. Cells recycle damaged parts, potentially reducing inflammation and supporting longevity. And that ties into the next one, stem cell and immune regeneration. A landmark USC study supposedly supports this that found 72-hour fasting cycles trigger stem cell regeneration, quote unquote, rebooting the immune system and clearing out old cells and prompting the growth of new ones,
Mm.
promising for chemotherapy recovery and autoimmunity. Autoimmunity, although human trials are small. That's the other one I found really fascinating. There's not too many things in my life where I was like, well, cleaning up. I'm 50 years old. I'm cleaning up old cells that maybe aren't really kind of carrying their weight anymore, and
Yeah.
getting some new. I'm like, if that's it, great. And the final
Well,
two.
I thought you were going to say it's because you're such a recycling enthusiast. That's what really hooked you.
I do live in the greater Seattle area. Uh, Anything I can do for the salmon. Okay, Reduced inflammation and other markers, short-term drops in CRP/inflammatory proteins. Some report better mental clarity from ketones. And finally, brain mood and effects. Ketones may protect neurons. Small studies note mood improvements and neurological adaptations. So basically, I was like, okay, some improved insulin sensitivity. Cool. But it really was I hope that the cellular cleanup is true and that
Mm,
stem cell and regeneration. Like, that's were the things I was like, didn't seem to happen on a 1 or 2 day fast. You had to get to the 72.
yeah.
And the other research that I did, and again, interwebs, curious to hear what everyone else thinks, specifically with this like cellular cleanup deal, it's from what I could find, it seemed like it lasted about 4 months on average, is what they said, before you might want to like sweep the cobwebs out again. So I was like, well,
That's
maybe I'll try,
interesting.
maybe I'll try to do this, 3 times over the course of the year, once every 4 months. And so
God,
I'm not, I'm
I
not,
was just dying for you to say quarterly there, but
I was
that
close. I was close.
that's part of my quarterly
So
report.
that was
Well,
that was the why, and it was not for improved athletic performance because
sure.
that didn't happen.
What's interesting, yeah, I bet not. It's interesting you say that, and that's where my mind goes immediately when people start talking about fasting, because I know I don't have my ear to the ground quite as much as I used to with some of these things, but I know that a few years ago it was a really big trend to play around with intermittent fasting. I know it's still a thing, but I don't know to what degree it is
Hmm.
anymore. And the rub to me that always seemed to be a little bit at odds is, generally speaking, the same population that was wanting to dabble with this sort of protocol was also the same population, to your point, that was looking to perform really well under a lot of intensity all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that if you ain't eating, it's going to be tough to work out. And so,
those two camps are not friends.
yeah, so how do you reconcile that if this is something you want to do on the regular? So, as you were discussing this, the first thing that popped into my head was, okay, if I believe all of this autophagy talk, then what is the time frame that I have between these fasts, and is it actually reasonable to partake? And hey, if you're telling me that every 4 months I take a couple days to take it easy and just not eat as much, that seems pretty reasonable to me. It seems like that's a lot more reasonable than where I saw the trend in intermittent fasting going, which was like, people were doing some sort of fast every other day, daily, that sort of thing. And sure, some of this is my ignorance on some of these protocols, but
Mine as well. Mine as well.
that's where it seemed to kind of fall off the rails for me, is that, hey, if a little bit of this is good all the time, should be even better. And next thing you know, you've got this real intersection of like, well, hold on, I've got to fuel myself for these intense sessions I'm doing regularly in the gym,
Hmm.
but I want the benefits of this fasting thing. So that's kind of cool that the interval between to see the benefit is more significant with these longer
Yeah.
fasts.
Again, it supposedly
At
lasts
least,
about 4 months.
yeah,
And I was like, man, if there's a 50% shot that it's true,
sure.
the benefits could be quite good, and it's reasonably priced. Doesn't cost me anything. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's not like I have to go get some,
Yeah.
like
Hey, in fact, you're
on
probably
the
coming
show we
out
mentioned
ahead.
previously, where it's like this fancy $150,000 a year protocol that
Sure.
maybe gets some like sort of metabolic benefit. I'm like, it's actually quite the opposite. It costs me zero,
Price of groceries these days, Pat, you're probably coming out ahead. You know what I'm saying?
dude. Yes,
Three
that's a
days off
total.
is money in the bank.
So the other thing, which maybe varies widely by what you consume or what it's going to be, is whether or not you should or shouldn't train
Yeah.
during the fast. And I think largely the general recommendation is not to, like, obviously be trying to go hard and, like, do this stuff for obvious reasons. Again, we're in the trust tree. We're in the nest here. We're not giving anybody, advice or whatnot. I'm not one to miss workouts. So of course,
Sure.
I get after it every day. And so my experiences for that were, so I started this on um, January 4th, which was a Sunday. I started Sunday morning. I got up Sunday morning, I had breakfast. And then after breakfast, like a little bit of time went by. It was like 8:15 in the morning. And I had this fast thing in my head, as like maybe wanted to try it in 2026. I was like, why not today? Okay. I
Mm,
looked at the clock. Like, it's 8:15. I had breakfast about 30 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start right now. 8:15. today. I'm not going to eat anymore. And I need to make it to 8:15 a.m. Wednesday morning. That'll be 72 hours from now. And so since it was Sunday, that was a rest day. And so I didn't do anything on that day anyway. And I'm sure this varies wildly by person, but I was born hungry. I love food. I never met a meal I didn't like. I could eat a
Mm.
meal and someone's like, want to get a bite to eat? I'm like, of course I do. Like, it's just like, that's it. But for some particular reason, it was really easy in day one not to eat. I've done some 1 or 2 day fast before, but it wasn't that bad at all. Made it to Sunday night. Great. My supportive wife was like, "There's no shot of you doing this 72-hour fast. There's no shot. There's literally no shot."
Good luck.
She's like, "You love it. It's just not going to happen." And I
I
was
know
like, "All
you.
right." I
You
was
know
like,
you.
"You're." In the back of my mind, I was like, "Dang it, she's right." Uh, I slept really well. No bad sleep patterns whatsoever. I actually slept like great. I slept well, maybe because I didn't have anything in my stomach and my body wasn't processing anything. But I got up Monday morning and did my normal day. It was easy in the morning, and I didn't really have too much drama at all. And on Monday, the workout that I had to do was kind of a long grinder. It was a pair of 50-pound dumbbells for the men for some dumbbell lunges. It was 3 rounds of a 1,200-meter run. And so, 3/4 of a mile each time for 3 rounds, 9 bar muscle ups, and a 30-meter dumbbell lunge for 3 rounds with those dumbbells. So,
Mm.
it was like a beast of a one. And I wrote down my notes. I took like some voice notes on my phone, which I transcribed so I wouldn't forget things over the course of it. And here's what I wrote. This is Monday at 6 p.m. My notes. So I started the
Day
fast
one,
Sunday.
sort of.
So, well, yeah, I started Sunday morning, and now this
Yeah.
is Monday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So started fast Sunday at 8:15 a.m. Right now it's 6 p.m. on Monday, so it's been almost 36
Got
hours.
it. Okay.
Just past the halfway point. It's been relatively easy so far. My family just finished dinner, of which I prepared for them because I do a lot of cooking in the house. And I was doing great, but the food smelled delicious. And I had my first like, it'd be really nice to eat. Like it I was doing great when I wasn't around the smell of food, and then cooking the
Mm.
dinner. I was like, oh, I'd love to just dish up a plate right now. But up to this point, like I said, it's been actually pretty easy. No working on Sunday, long workout today, the ones I just said. The workout took me like 35 minutes, which I think I should have been able to do it a little bit quicker than that. I said that I felt kind of tired during it, but not too bad. So that was up to the 36-hour mark doing a grinder. I did feel a little sluggish, but like I didn't feel like death during the workout. I still felt okay. So that was Monday. Tuesday, I've got 2 notes from Tuesday. So I wake up Tuesday morning at 8:30 in the morning. Okay, it says 48 hours in. On the what I went into my scale in my bathroom. When I started, I would think I was like 182.5 or 183 pounds, right around there. So 48 hours in, the scale said 176.6. So I was down like 6 pounds in 48
That's what
hours.
the write up said you could expect. So there you go, right on track.
Interesting, like right on track,
Yeah.
right? And my notes here at 8:30 a.m. after 40 hours feel good, slept great. I don't feel any hunger at all.
Yeah.
So far good.
Even with the shorter fasting that I've done, I've definitely experienced that where for a time, like you said, you have those moments where you're like, oh man, it'd be great too. And you have to have a little willpower. But
Yes,
I've also experienced that where you get over a certain point and it's like, you don't even think about it until it's done.
I agree there, and it's
Yeah.
probably different for each person, but I almost feel like it is one of those things where if you can push through, the longer you go, that the cravings kind of get quieter to some degree,
Yep.
that they're initially louder early on. So that same day, Tuesday, I made another note in the evening, 5:02 p.m. I wrote, my fast will end tomorrow at 8:15 in the morning. So this is Tuesday. Tuesday was supposed to be 30 power clean and jerks at 185 pounds for men.
That's a stout
Not
workout.
not a wheelhouse workout for me.
Uh,
Okay,
Dude,
heavy day at a high
hey,
heart rate.
that at the best of times, like fully rested, fully fueled, that's a bear of a workout. I
It's a
mean,
bear of a
yeah,
workout. It's a bear. In full disclosure, I wouldn't go overhead with that barbell anyway, like that
sure.
workout we've done before. And whenever it comes up, I'll do 30 power cleans at that weight. It takes me whatever it takes me. And then I'll get in a bunch of dumbbell bench press to get in some pressing. And that's how I'll do that workout. So I went into the gym having done this one before with the intention of doing it how I've done previously. And we've done it several times. I'm very aware of how that feels. And while I'm not the world's strongest guy, like a 185 power clean for me, it's like I can, that's fine. It'll be some singles, don't get me wrong, but I'll move the barbell. No, that was so now we're north of 48 hours in, and I felt like my breathing was like much more labored than it should, even
Uh,
though I wasn't like moving quick. Like even just
yeah.
during the warm up, I was like, "Whoo, oh yeah, this is a heck of a warm up, just casual warm up." And then when I warmed up the barbell, 185 was not going to happen. I had like no pop, no explosion. I got to 155, and I was like, this is the heaviest 155 I've felt in quite a while. And I just stayed at 155, and I did some power cleans at that and some bench press, some dumbbell bench press, and just like casually walked back and forth between the two, like accumulating the reps that I need to accumulate, like literally walking. And yes, if you're moving load and everyone knows that, like you're going to have a cardiorespiratory response, but I've been doing this stuff for 20 years, so I'm pretty well aware what my normal cardio response would be during that. And it was definitely exaggerated. Like I was
Yeah.
lethargic,
Yep.
huffing and puffing, and it was noticeable. So while on day one it wasn't that much, 100% on day two it was. Let's see. And I did get some really good hunger pains Tuesday in the later half of the day.
Mm,
So,
interesting.
probably
Okay.
around like hour 50 something.
So it came
And
back.
once they came back, and I think it
Uh,
came back because, again, I had to make my family a delicious dinner. And there was some day where, like, over the weekend before we started the fast, we'd had pizza night in the Sherwood household. And then, like, I think it was Tuesday during the day, my wife like reheated some for one of our sons, and I walked into the house and the whole house smelled like a pizza oven. I was like, "Come on, seriously? Like, seriously? Like, I'm so close to the finish
That's
line. You're like
good.
reheating pizza?"
That's good.
Uh, so that finished Tuesday. I weighed myself at the end of the night, and I'd actually gone up a little bit. I was like close to 178 pounds. But I also think during that day when the hunger pains came in, I think I was a little dehydrated. While I was
Mm,
drinking water, I drank a bunch more, and I felt a lot better after that. So that was Tuesday, and all I needed to do was wake up on Wednesday morning, make it to 8:15 a.m., and it was mission success. So went to
yeah.
bed, um, and then my notes on Wednesday were from Wednesday evening. So Wednesday's workout was an interval workout. It was a series of intervals with like 3 minutes rest between each. You'd have a little something to do, and then a 20-second max effort on the air bike. Like farmer's carry, 20-second, 20 burpee box jumps, 20, like whatever, but with rest, so you really had to hammer the bike. I was not hammering anything. This is on day three. And even after I get up and had a little food in my body, I went into the gym and I changed that workout entirely. Like I had nothing. I just did like a move. I kind of touched all the movements, but I just made it this like low intensity session where I got all the overall work done, but there was no intensity in the training session in any way, shape, or form. It kind of felt like a zombie.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
only thing else,
that makes sense. I
yeah, oh,
think.
for sure. And the only thing I'll say is, again, I throw myself at the mercy of the internet. From what I understand, when you finish the 72-hour fast, there's also like a procedure, a generally recommended procedure for the refeeding. They say, like, hey, you should start off with maybe like some bone broth. And then 2 or 3 hours later, you might have a scrambled egg and like some vegetables. Nobody's got time for that. Okay. So
What is the rationale there?
I can't. I read it and I can't remember what it is. I think I don't know if it's just I'm oversimplifying it, being like a shock to your system that now hasn't had anything in it for 3 days. And you don't want to overdo it. And you could be sensitive. I can't. I can't. I read what it was, and I immediately decided to disregard it in my own personal life. So I had 5 scrambled eggs, a
Nice.
banana, coffee. Felt great. Had no problems
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form, and I just started my daily life from that and had, my normal meals over the course of the day, no stomach issues, no nothing. And the next day, Thursday, was a rest day, so it didn't work out. And then even on Friday, when I hit that next workout, I certainly felt better. I'd been eating for, 36 hours, but I still didn't feel like totally back to normal. But like a day or two after that, I did. So that's kind of my general gist. It was both it was both difficult, but I almost want to say not as challenging as I thought it would be. Not to say that it wasn't challenging, but I had it really built up in my head. And while I did have to kind of, push away the food devil a few times, it was, I guess, more bearable than I thought. So that's
Yeah,
my
right on.
that's my experience, and it did nothing for my performance.
Yeah, well, but I think maybe not intended to, right? So that's
No, but not intended to. Not
perhaps that
intended
if you're
to.
going into it with that kind of understanding, it can be a little easier to stomach when you do some workouts and you perform maybe not up to where you hoped you would have. But I got a couple thoughts and questions right out the gate. My first question is, you know, the description that you read out earlier about why people would choose to engage in a long fast like this, how long between fasting efforts, et cetera, et cetera. The benefit of this kind of cellular recycling and clearing out. All of that sounds great. Um, to me, what that really points to is how do you feel after having done this versus how do you feel during it? If those things are to be taken seriously, like, those 3, 4 days that you're actually not eating, that's kind of not the full story. So I'm
Hmm.
curious, like, what has it been like, this past week now that you're eating again? Have you noticed anything? Is there a mental clarity that comes with it? Do you feel like your digestion is more efficient? Is your sleep quality noticeably improved? Like, is there anything along that line that since you've started eating again that subtle or otherwise has kind of changed for the better?
What's funny is I actually think I slept better during the fast than I sleep normally.
Okay.
I'm not a great sleeper normally,
Yeah.
and I think I actually slept better. Um, I just had something else I wanted to say. The mental clarity, you know me, I'm sharp as a tack
Yeah,
normally,
that's
boss. You know
right.
what
Yes.
I mean?
We all know it, Pat.
I can't say if that was yay or nay. You definitely get some people will say that they get irritable not having eaten. I should probably ask my
Sure.
wife and family if they found me to be more irritating than normal. Um, but oh, what was it? I just had something and it just went
Speaking of
away.
mental acuity.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What's funny is on that Wednesday morning when the clock did hit 8:15 and I could eat, as funny as it was, because when I started the fast, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna like it's gonna be such a joyous moment, like Christmas morning. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just ravenously be like foaming at the mouth." I could have cared less. Like I'd entered that phase where I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess it's time to eat now." But if I
Mm.
didn't, I kind of wouldn't care. And it was a very interesting point to get to. Like there was no, like just couldn't wait to see the finish line kind of a thing. I'd entered some place where I was like very very easygoing. Oh, you know what I did notice, and maybe this is totally anecdotal. You and I have mentioned this, I think, just in one of our random side conversations in the show before, of like that feeling that I said that I get it, and you said you get it every now and then, where you feel like you can't take a good deep breath. Like you want
Sure.
to, you
Yep.
got to do that. That's something which affects me more often than not. I would actually say
Yeah.
most days, quite
Yeah.
frankly. It utterly and completely went away during the fast.
Huh.
And
Okay.
and since it's something that I deal with regularly, it was really noticeable when I
Yeah.
didn't. And even like a couple times during the fast, I was like, all right, I'm going to try to take like just a really full, peaceful, deep breath, and could do it every time like easily. And I was like, that's
Nice.
really weird. I'm like, I don't know why that is. And now since having eaten again, like it's come back.
Hmm.
I have no clue what that is. Again,
There's
maybe
nothing in
something
the way, Pat. There's nothing in the old belly
I
to
I
stop that
I
diaphragm from expanding.
I guess so, but no, I didn't notice anything really negative. I was able to do all of my life tasks just fine. Again, working out was hard,
Yeah.
but like if we're not talking about working out, raising 3 kids, doing life's tasks and errands, doing all the work that I had to do, none of that was negatively affected in any way, shape, or form. I didn't
Oh, that's
feel
good.
fatigued doing any of that at all. The only
Yep.
time that I really noticed fatigue was during the workouts.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
life's normal tasks were totally fine. Some people will say they'll get like headaches or whatnot during it. I didn't get any headaches, and I don't know if that just meant that I was drinking enough water or the sea salt helped or whatever it was, but I didn't experience any of that either. And so it was overall a good experience, I guess beneficial or good enough that I wouldn't be scared or hesitant to do it again. And in a weird way, and this has nothing to do with like your physical health, right? I don't know if this is corny or cheesy, but like it actually felt good and rewarding to like kind of embark on something that I knew was going to be uncomfortable and hard for a while and just do
Sure.
it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like be
Yeah.
like I had the discipline to do that if I needed to,
Mhm.
and that's unrelated to cellular repair, but like there was some I hadn't done something like that in a while that I was like, I might fail this. I don't know if I could fail. Like there's a high
Yeah.
risk of fail. It's 50-50,
Sure.
and so that was kind of cool as well.
Yeah, no, I think there is something to be said for that every once in a while, just flexing that muscle, so to speak. I had kind of two other, just one's a question, one's more of an observation, but I'm really curious about your 2 cups of coffee on an empty stomach because for me personally, I enjoy coffee in the morning, sure, as much as everybody else. Um, and there are often times that that's how, I will have a cup of coffee on an empty stomach and go a little while before I eat my breakfast. But more often than not, if I do that, uh, number one, I don't think I'm particularly caffeine sensitive, but I'll just feel like I'm flying if I
Oh,
go too long
interesting.
without eating. That happens occasionally. Or number two, it just doesn't sit well if all I have is coffee with nothing else for too long. I feel like it really, really makes me just want to get a meal in there. So I
Hmm.
don't know. Did you experience anything like that with the coffee in the morning, or was that just kind of inconsequential?
No, I didn't notice anything like that at all. I was good to go. And a lot of times in the morning, if I get up early at like 5 or something, I'll have my coffee. Then I might not have breakfast for a couple hours
Yeah,
later
yeah.
regularly, and I've never had any drama with that.
Okay. Well, a second thing observationally, like I said, I don't, it's been a while since I've really followed up on the kind of these little trends that are happening within the health and fitness space and kind of wade through uh, huge air quotes here, the science around what's either
Yeah.
supporting or not supporting them. But what I will say intuitively, and I do think about this a lot in a lot of domains, not just food or exercise, but I'll say I think that we all live in a time and place these days where inputs are unrelenting. And you think about just digital inputs that we all subject ourselves to these days. You think about
Mhm.
the amount of work that the average person subjects themselves to, via necessity or otherwise. Um, just yeah, the responsibilities that pile up in the average person's life. And then on top of that, if you take that into the domain of health and fitness, it's like, yeah, most people, they ain't going too long between feeding, whether
Right,
that's
right.
a
Myself
full meal.
included, yeah.
Yeah, whether that's a full meal or a snack, like it's really the interval between something going from your hand and into your mouth is not that long. So I don't know. I think intuitively it does kind of follow for me that taking a break from input, regardless of what that input is, I think that's a very natural thing if you look at
Mm,
kind of the human animal, like there's not too many times and places in history that the human being has existed with just nonstop input in any domain.
yeah.
You know, for that reason alone, I could see that, hey, maybe there is something to this. And I don't have any sort of, you know, factual backing for that.
Yeah.
But intuitively, that does make sense to me that from time to time, it's good to give the system a little rest.
Well, and I just recently had my first physical in quite a while, about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I got all my blood panels and blood work done, and they're all within the normal range, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm curious is, I don't know if there's a way, and I haven't researched this, to tell if any of these supposed benefits that I hoped happened, did they actually
Right.
happen? Like, that would
Yeah.
be really fascinating to know. But I think after this experience, I give myself the option to change my plan if I so desire. So no one's going to hold me to this. But as I stand here, I think I will try for 2026 to do this on the 4-month intervals. And
Hmm.
so I did it in
Yeah.
January. So what that means, I'll do it again in May and then again in October. I think that would be every 4 months. And then because at the end of December of this year, because I had my physical in December, so my next annual physical is for December. And so it'll be a year doing this will be really the only thing. I don't plan on doing any of the major changes to my life. And so this will be the only thing that I did, quasi different from everything else. And so, I mean, not that that's like rock hard science, but it'll be interesting just to see the next time I go in for the annual checkup and the full blood panel's done. Is it exactly the same? Is it better or worse? I don't know. Is there maybe I'll get a better education over the course of this year and know that there's one or two maybe more tests that I should request for my blood panel
Yeah.
that could be helpful. So again, if anybody knows the answer to these, I'll do my own poking around on the interwebs as well. I'd be kind of fascinated. So, but that's the recap of my experience there.
Yeah,
Shocked my
right on.
wife. Shocked her.
Well, I don't know, man. This 4 month interval thing, I think I might be able to get behind that. I'm already thinking like counting back the days here and looking at the calendar, kind of mentally. I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot. So we'll see.
I tell you what, not eating a few meals a day, heck of a time saver. You get some hours back in your day.
Yeah, there you go.
You can become even more of a workaholic because you're like, I
Yeah.
don't have to have lunch today. I'm just going to stay at my desk.
Oh
so
boy.
so that's that. But yeah. So I guess for everybody out there, fasting. Have you done something like this? What are your thoughts? What was your experience? Does some of the stuff I say or hope for to get out of it? Do you have any actual quote unquote facts or studies that support that it's on target or the total opposite, that it's nonsense and unicorns and rainbows and fiction and just, I wasted 3 hours, 3 days of delicious meals. Let me know that. And so, yeah, I'll keep everybody posted as I move forward. And if the plan changes a few months from now, or if, Boz and I will do the show fasted in about in about 4 or 5 months. So, yeah, post your thoughts or comments. Find this show in the BTWB YouTube channel. You can, of course, go to Instagram for the Very Not Random account there. Post a public comment if you have an idea about this topic or for a future show. Leave it in any of those places, or you can send a direct message on Instagram if you want to be anonymous. All that stuff makes its way to us. And so, for Adrian Bosman, I'm Pat Sherwood, and we will see you next time.